So, young parents are often in the pediatrician's office with fevers and coughs and colds, but they are also in the office to measure development of the baby and then the child. When some of these are not met, is there a structured way that the pediatrician in India redirects them to a specialist?
I don't believe that there is a uniform structured way anywhere in the world. And pediatricians and doctors, like doctors of any discipline, can be very varied in their ability, obviously, to assess these things on their own as well. Quite naturally, it's a function of experience, training, inclination, and so on. And of course, time. If you're in a really busy OP with 100 crying children, you may not really do justice to the developmental evaluation that you have to do. But when I think all of them are trained and equipped to sense that something is not right with a child, because they're trained and they watch children grow, so they're very good at that. Those who work in environments where there is the ability to refer to a team that will be able to follow this up with the doctor's suspicion up with an assessment are the fortunate ones. Others are probably in a situation where they could point the child out or the parent out to one particular specialist who may be helpful. I know pediatricians who refer to their colleagues who are developmental pediatricians, or choose to send the child to just the psychologist to begin with. But making a start somewhere makes a lot of sense. So I think going from the pediatrician's office to someone who can do an assessment or a component of an assessment is a very good start if you can get there. And usually then what happens is you are led on to see other people who are relevant in that ecosystem.
Right. And how early can interventions help?
So our youngest children who come in for interventions are barely 6 weeks old. And this is when there has been a story of things not being right, and clearly the child is not thriving very well. That's not extraordinarily common for us, of course. That happens once in a while. More commonly between 3 and 6 months, sometimes between 6 months and a year. But sadly, even today, I get children who have not sat up until the age of 3 or 4 or 5, and that's when they are coming. So, to answer your question, ideally, as soon as you recognize that there may be a problem, is the right answer, because we have ways of measuring whether it's intellect, whether it is neurological, physical milestones, whether it's language or interaction. We have ways of measuring these things quite early, so we don't have to wait necessarily. We may have to wait to validate, but we can have a high index of suspicion through our assessments.
But what do you do with this suspicion? I mean, we're talking about an infant here. Then what?
So there is a whole process. So I'll give you an example. When it comes to a child turning around and crawling, for example, and we are now talking early milestones, right? One thing that has to happen is neck control, right? And if a child comes to us with difficulties in moving around and a few months old, very often that's what we find. The neck control is not developed. And one of the things that leads us to do is to work on the neck control as a first milestone. Because when you achieve neck control, then you are able to work on other things. So work with a child who has a developmental disability usually proceeds in stages. And I always try and explain this to the parents, that there is a child who's growing like this, and there is your child who's somewhere here, and there is a gap between the two children. If you did nothing, what will happen is the gap will widen as time goes by. And all therapy is to try and keep this gap non-expandable to the extent possible. And sometimes you're so fortunate that you actually start catching up also. So, in a sense, therefore, early intervention, sustained intervention is extremely important in order to help children. And of course, like any other condition, there are children who the help we give only has limited impact. There are children in whom the help completely transforms the outcome. Both can happen. But I think we all have it in us a duty to try. So.